Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Adnan.
Happy birthday to
me.
All right.
Right on. Yeah, man.
30. Holy
38,
cow,
yeah.
man.
2 away from 40. I didn't even know.
Yeah, you're 12 away from 50.
Oh, I never thought about that one. That's
the boat that I'm on right
my
now,
God.
which is like sinking right now.
crazy.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a bit, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I know, but you've got a lot on the go right now.
I do. It's been amazing. It's
Busy?
Busy. It's been an absolute
So the
crazy
last
ride.
3 funny years have been really good for you.
They have been. Really have been. I've never seen this kind of growth so
I know
suddenly.
the last time that we talked, you had a lot of, I guess, irons in the fire.
Yes.
A lot of things were being planned, but I
Yes.
guess there was a lot of uncertainty.
Sure.
So
yeah.
but now everything's kind of
Starting to move along.
It's
It's becoming more widespread, so it's being adapted more in the townships, more in the municipalities, more. The CSA code is starting to become more evolved and also work in conjunction with the OBC.
This was a big thing that we just had Luca Bucci on the show.
Okay.
Who's the CEO of the Ontario Home Builders Association.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so I guess it would apply to you guys as well, because I mean, we're going to talk about modular container building, everything. I guess it would apply for you guys because his whole thing about the Bill 23 was streamlining the whole process. So if you guys are dealing, is that still connected? This is going to be an email that I'm going to send to him to ask him, because if you still have to get your CSA approval, does that apply, or does that trump? Does that go towards the OBC, not the OBC, the building office of whatever?
Yeah, so it doesn't trump. It just works in conjunction with what's been pre-approved. So you get your regular permit as you regularly get them.
Yeah.
And then the CSA is a separate code for, because you're building off-site, it's the governing body for manufactured products. So even pipes or vanities or anything. Any finished product gets under. So there's different classification, different code.
Okay.
For modular specifically, it's A277. And the other one's C305, but I don't know if it's exactly what it is. Something like that. So those are the two. That's for the wheeled, and then the non-wheeled is A277, which is what every manufacturing facility needs to have in their facility is A277.
Got it.
Certification.
Okay, so we're going to get into all that. So Adnan, you're back here on the show.
I am, third time. I'm loving it.
Yeah, ACAD Modular and Design, you're the principal, www.acadmodular.com, and to reach you is info@acadmodular.com.
Yes.
And on Instagram, it's ACAD. No, it's not. It's
I have ACAD Modular on Instagram and on Facebook, but I'm not heavily posting on that. I will hopefully more, but you can find me as well, Adnan Zabian as well. I post a lot of stuff on that too.
Nice.
Either or.
So a couple of, I just got to do a little housekeeping.
Sure.
H2O Plumbers, I'm wearing their hoodie that they gave me, which solid guys, solid plumbers, worked with them a couple of times, totally vouch for them. They're great guys, so thank you for the hoodie. We know that the weather's turning here in Toronto. It's gotten a little cooler. We had it spoiled, right? We had it spoiled. But I do want to do a little shout out. So unfortunately, I guess the last few days, a lot of tradespeople have had their tools stolen. They have had their job sites broken into. And a good friend of mine, Blake Kenny, at bkenny11, and he's not active on social media, but he reached out and he just basically told me, listen, can you just do a shout out? He's in the Saint Laurent and Ottawa area, and this is what they basically broke into his job site. They smashed open the door, broke the deadbolt. He's dealing with the police. He's dealing with the insurance. He's dealing with all that crap. He's just so they took like 2 pass load framers, 2 Makita drill sets, Makita skill saw, batteries on top of batteries, Stabila, 712 plate level, Diamondbacks bags and sets fully loaded. The Martinis framing hammers, they ain't cheap, right? And Hilti cordless chipper, Honda generator. It's like a nightmare grocery list. Right?
I'm looking at dollar signs, and I'm going to estimate $50,000.
It's a lot. And he's just like, I guess he's just upset because this was he's thinking, I know he mentioned that, it could be some crackhead or something like that, but we don't know. And I unfortunately, whenever I hear about trades tools being stolen, they're being stolen by other trades. That's the majority of it, which is really unfortunate. And and the same day I get another call from somebody else telling me the exact same thing happened on another job site. And then I already know 2 weeks ago somebody else had their stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I get the sense that nobody wants to buy these tools anymore, and they are just stealing tools. So I feel for Kenny. I said to him, listen, I'll do a shout out, and if anybody wants to help out with him or reach out to him if they're in that area or whatever. The only thing they didn't steal was the Bosch Axial Glide miter saw, because I guess it's just too heavy to take at the time. But so I mean, I feel for you, Kenny. I really do. So just a little shout out for that, and that's all my shout out. That's my housekeeping.
Cool, man.
There.
Hey, no
all right.
problem.
So how do you want to begin this show? Where do you want to? Because I want everybody to know this is a particular personal subject of mine. I love this part of the industry. I think that this part of the industry is going to grow.
Yeah,
it has to grow, and it's not just. I think it makes a lot of sense. Earlier this year, I was at the Tiny Home Show in Hamilton.
Yep.
And I was checking that out. So there was actually a lot of shipping containers there, on wheels, off wheels, or whatever.
Yep.
And they were very creative on the way they were building certain things. And what was cool about the show is that you could literally walk right in and experience the whole home. You can check out where the bedroom is, where the kitchen is, where the bathroom is, where the laundry, where everything is. Yeah. And you're just amazed on how much you can fit in such little space, right?
I'm blown away because I was at the CNE this past summer, and this is the first year they opened since COVID and all that. And I was with the kids and the wife and everything. And they had about 3 or 4 of these things for show when people walking through, same kind of thing. And I was blown away because 10 years ago when I first started in this industry, like I said, I couldn't get anybody to return my calls even because it was so out there and new, and what?
They didn't know it.
They didn't know it, right? So they're like, okay, all right. So, and then when I see it, I was like, this is amazing. I'm just blown away. So it's very blown away on about how it's.
Are the clients changing? Like when you're speaking to more and more people, is it the similar? Is there a stereotype to a kind of client that's attached to this kind of project?
That would buy or that would build?
That would both. Which one? I just figure people that are very conscious of the environment or footprint or off the grid.
In general, a lot more that, yes. Actually, the top thing that I see with people want just to buy a single home. So there's 2 different things. So I do stuff where it's multi-unit residential, then I'm getting into hotels. And so for the single unit stuff, it's mainly people saying, I want to go somewhere remote. I want something self-sustained. I want to just do that. That's mainly the kind of people I interact with who want an independent unit. Second thing is cost of living has gone up like crazy. So also the city of Toronto and Ontario is allowing for laneway suites and garden suites. So I get a lot of those requests now saying, well, look, I got my son or daughter just graduated university. They don't have $1 million for a home. They can't get a mortgage for that much. So we're going to start them out in the back. So they have something separate from the house, but something they can build some equity in. Yep. How much it is, I don't know, but some equity into something rather than doing that. Or people are actually building these things in the back and renting them out to people as well. So I'm getting that from the private.
The ownership of the laneway suite, or I guess whatever, the granny suite, or if it's a triplex on top of your garage, that ownership still belongs to the original house? Or
technically, or else you do a micro severance where you're allowed to actually sever a piece of the lot and have that as a separate lot.
Is that applicable to all municipal, or is that?
I don't believe all, but I think with more densely populated stuff, yes. Okay. But you have to check with your local municipality in terms of you can do a micro severance or not. Some do, some haven't really done it yet.
What are some of the rules there regarding a micro? So if do you still, I know that when there's setbacks, there's amount of backyard that you still need, front yard.
Rear yards, front yard setbacks, you got to have easy access in and out, car access or fire route access. So if there's a fire in that thing, a fire truck people have to be able to access it. So all the laws apply, a separate electrical feed and separate plumbing feed from the road if it's going to be a sever. If it's the same owner and wants to just keep and just build an apartment there, then you don't need to do the severance, but you can have it in a way where you just go through the process of it being a leased, where same as leasing a basement or anything else, you do the same permit for the basement lease as you would do with this.
Is it worth severing it? I don't like. What kind of?
Some cases, yes and no. It all depends on the land value, where it is. Sometimes
I mean, let's say we're talking. Toronto. If we're talking Toronto,
it can be.
I mean, if I'm just let's fast forward a little bit. Yeah. I'm older now, and I don't need all that space in the back, or I don't need the garage anymore, and I want to just sever that, so then I could have that as part of my retirement, whatever, and then sell it to somebody else, and they can own that space, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense at that point.
It makes sense at that point, and it also makes sense in terms of if it's for one person, maximum 2. Yeah. It's going to be tough to do, but what people are doing, getting very creative. They're doing 2-story, small laneway suites, where the main level has a little kitchen and family room, and a narrow set of spiral stairs, and then they have one bedroom upstairs.
But
A little
OBC still
washroom.
allows the spiral. I thought you needed a straight run.
Well, the curved stairs, not the
Okay,
not the
actual
New York
spir-
style.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I call it a
yeah.
spiral stair. I meant the curved stairs
Okay.
to kind of blend in around.
I
So
had
kinda go
that
up and-
discussion with an inspector one time.
Yeah.
He was telling me that will never pass over.
I've never done a
Yeah.
spiral stairs
as a main and only stair access to get
Right.
upstairs to another
Yeah.
flooring, right? You need a straight run.
You do need a straight run. Yeah, the only time I ever did that was the rooftop patio on one of the modified container units I
Yeah.
did, and then did a little spiral just on the outside. It's not the main one, and then they went up and down. It was low, so it was, and we widened it and made it kind of neat, so it still met all the standards and everything it needed for it.
So what would you park the containers on? Are you like you prefer concrete piles, helical piles, or would you just start building it right on blocks? Or
I've done all of them. So I've done floating blocks. I've done concrete blocks. I've done ICF blocks. I've done flat concrete. I've done even helical piles. So I like helical piles. I really do when applicable to an actual container unit. But when you're talking an actual, there's different kinds of modular units, right? There's a container, which everybody's seeing. Then there's the actual HSS framed modular structures.
okay,
And then there's roll formed and laser cut modular structures. So where they actually roll form the frame and more automotive style type of
so you're
thing.
making a shipping container instead of reusing a shipping
Correct.
container.
Yeah, there's 3 different types. So
Okay.
So when that happens, so they do all of their own base roll forming and everything, and then you just put in your metal studs and you start building it out that way.
Cost wise, like you, what are we talking? Like I know since the whole thing has been going up.
Yeah.
Has it, like the used ones have gone up dramatically, but
Yeah.
if you're doing a new one, you're manufacturing a cold rolled one.
Correct.
Is it still expensive?
In terms of one's more expensive than the other, your most cost effective one could be, it depends on how much you get your container for. And if, because sometimes when you get a container, you get a used container and then they have to actually make it applicable and conform to building code. There could be bows, there could be a lot more welding and reinforcement than you already anticipated. Then it gets more expensive than doing the roll formed one. Because, and the difference between the two, I would say percentage wise, is a base frame to base frame, because the other materials are same. It's, toilet to toilet, this is this.
Everything's the same.
Yeah, so the base frame, I would say they are more, but it's the difference between getting a Chevy and a Mercedes kind of deal. Neither of them are insanely unaffordable or unattainable, but this one you're going to get a little bit more performance out of it, because 2 containers, the gap is say 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch if you hook them both together, and then as this you get a 1/16 of an inch.
Well, that's a big difference.
It's basically like neck and tied exactly, because they're custom roll formed and everything. to put
Couldn't you
together.
just custom roll form the whole square instead of dealing with a rectangular?
So how it works is that they do the whole square, and then they roll form the main support post.
Oh, okay,
And they
I
roll
got it.
form the roof piece, and then they bolt it all together. It's all bolted. It's all literally like an automotive style production line. The company.
What was the max that you guys were? I think it's only 2 stories now, but some dwellings were being allowed to throw on a rooftop patio deck kind of thing.
for using modular in general?
Yeah, like have you seen that or have you done that where you've gone on top of the second story?
I've designed them, never actually done one though.
Okay.
I have designed them where you have to
Because it
do like
makes
a crib
sense, I
and-
think. Like
Yeah.
you got all this usable flat space, right?
Yeah.
And then that's basically your garden at that point.
Yeah, there's a
Right.
lot of people doing that to help with more space because a lot of people, the same thing. Yeah, their houses went up 30% in value, but what are they going to move into? So like, well, no, let me do it in a way where I can do an addition with a rooftop patio in the back. I did a house in London like that.
Okay.
I designed it for him where I did the back. He had one of his bedrooms, it was 4-level back split, and then he just I built in the back with a master suite and then a rooftop patio. He ended up going with a peak design, but I had that presented to him, and it was really nice. But I have the rooftop patio thing for a house in Woodstock I did as well.
I had a question just on a
popular.
side note.
Yeah.
According to the OBC,
Yeah.
are you allowed to build as deep as you wanted to? If you wanted to underpin or excavate your basement and just keep going lower and lower and lower, is that true? Someone told me that you can. There's no restriction on how deep you can go.
There's no restriction, but how much restriction do you have on your money? Because the deeper you go, the more expensive it gets.
Yeah, that's what it's a money
Yeah.
thing. So, but
Yeah.
if you've got like stupid money, then you can, I guess, technically speaking.
If you have ridiculous money and you're not sitting on a sand pit, well, you can still do that. But technically, I don't see anything that restricts you unless but you'd have to look at the scope of what the project is. If some guy wants to go 2 or 3 stories below, it's doable, but it's going to get expensive. And you also have to have a certain amount of natural light coming in. So you have to incorporate things such as those light tubes. I don't know if you saw those things. You have to put that in to allow for natural light. So for basements, it's about 2.5% to 5%.
Really? That's part of the
light.
OBC that you have to have. So what about the golf simulators or movie theaters? Or
that's commercial. Well, this is just strictly residential living space.
No, but you want to throw a golf simulator in your basement. You want to put it there. Like you still have to get some natural light in there.
At some point in the basement, as part of the basement, yeah. You
really?
need
That's what they're asking for?
Yeah,
2.5%.
Yeah, yeah. And it's by the square footage, right? So you look at that.
How big you make it.
Yeah, so 600 square feet, it's 2.5% of the 600 square feet is how much window space you need.
What would that work out to be? I don't know. Siri?
Let me
Siri? What would that be? I don't know.
Let me
so
see.
if you got, let's say it's 1,000. Let's make it easy.
Okay, yeah, 1,000 square feet.
1,000 and you got 2.5%.
2.5%
so
of 1,000.
you need a window that's like 2 foot by 2 foot?
About that, yeah, as a minimum. Well, no, 1,000 square
24.
feet.
Yeah.
1,000 square feet. God, I'm bad. It's 250. 2.5% would be 25 square feet worth of window space. There we go. Okay.
So basically a 5 foot by 5 foot window.
Yeah, that's your minimum that you need for natural light to come in.
Wow.
Yeah.
How would you do that then?
With the window, well, you know, with the window you have where you dig in and you have the standard basement windows.
Yeah.
You put 4 or 5 of those things or 6 of them. It just has to
Add up to that
amount of square footage. Yeah.
But if you keep on going lower and lower and lower, but
then you have to incorporate certain things where you can allow for that 2.5%.
What about these wealthy jokers that live in certain areas in Toronto here that are building those underground parking garages? I don't think there's any windows.
Well, that's not a living space, so it's different.
Oh, so it's not a living.
It has to be for living spaces.
Okay.
So you're sleeping there, you're eating there. That's a living space.
So technically, a golf simulator is not
golf simulator is not a living space. So you can put that thing and it's fine. There's this massive house I went through one time at an indoor basketball court.
Yeah,
but he had some windows, very small amount because it was facing the back, but the rest of it was submerged, so almost fully submerged. So yeah, you know, but it's not a living space; it's a basketball court. Like it's.
I mean, that's the reason why I'm asking is because if you're using the shipping containers and you're going modular, why not go down as well? You're going up.
You can totally do that, and that's where it's better to go container, because it's already structurally much stronger. So to get the amount of structural integrity that you need that a container can handle, PSF to PSF,
it'll take that earth pushing on it.
It can to a certain degree, yeah, because it's meant for ocean and marine travel. Yeah. Right. And it's and these things get stacked 15, 20 high sometimes.
Yeah, I never understood how they stay there.
Yeah, it's just because the frames and the transfer of the energy through the actual frame itself.
All those containers are all locked together
They're
on
all
the ship.
Yeah, it looks like a claw and a ratchet, and you just kind of crank them all together, and then they're clawed together. Like
I've only seen it in disaster movies where you start seeing them all flip over, right?
Exactly.
And I'm just like, okay, that's going to happen on my order that's coming right now.
But,
but it doesn't happen. That's like
that's extreme.
I would see. That's what I would do. Is you excavate, drop the container in place, and then as long as you're not going over, I guess whatever
a certain amount, whatever the container is specified for.
What's it called?
PSF,
like when Earth is pushing on.
A PSF. So anything that's like load, live and dead load is called. It's measured in PSF, pounds per square foot.
And it goes on a vertical surface because it's pushing in on it.
Yeah. Then if you go vertical, it could be measured depending on what you're doing by kilonewtons, or there's different. There's you got to measure for creep and shear force and.
You got to factor all that
loads,
stuff.
Seismic loads, vibration. You got to factor in all that. Yeah.
So how do you do that when let's say it's a used container, and I guess it first has to get certified.
So so the used container. So single trip is considered new. There's only one single trip.
So if a container goes one trip one way, that's still a new container.
That's considered new. More than one, it's called single trip. So to consider them new. More than that's considered used. So
the second trip is used?
It would be considered not new at that point. Yeah, but it's a 2 trip.
I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, so they measure them by the trip. Oh, it's a 3 trip. I got a 20. But at some point,
what if you make a U-turn while you're going there?
Then
it's still a new,
new-ish,
newish. It becomes. It's not mint anymore.
Yeah, just new-ish. But that's usually So that you go container all the way. You want to submerge, put containers in because that's what they're used for.
Is there a max age on containers? Like, do you look at it and go, "Oh, this is done"?
It depends on what's been stored in it, but in general, I don't like to touch with anything that's pre-2000 personally.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like to. It's because from the inside, water and who knows where it's been and how many trips. And
you're talking about more food that's been stored in there, or
chemicals is the biggest thing. So if you want to try to get that used container CSA certified, you have to prove in a way that no harmful chemicals have been put in there. So like your neutral chemicals like isopropanol and corn-based stuff, that's not harmful. Vegetable oil isn't harmful. But like stuff like, whatever, something that could be combustibles or firecrackers or anything that you have to just certify that it's safe. There wasn't any harmful chemicals that got in there. So usually what people do to get around that, you just strip the thing bare from the inside and put in new subfloor. But you got to go through all of that. Whereas if you get something a little bit newer, it has all the paperwork, you don't have to go through all that headache.
That's where I was going to go with the paperwork. I can only assume that each container is kind of like a flight manifest, like a log.
Yeah.
So there's a history attached to every single
There
container.
should be, yeah, usually.
So you know where it's come and gone.
Exactly. Who did it, where it went, what was stored in it, and payload and all that kind of stuff.
Based on paperwork.
Based on the paperwork.
Okay,
that's usually how it is. And then when you want to CSA certify it just the way it is, and then start cutting it up and start doing everything, then you have to include that in your CSA floater, which is something that you use on the production phase of everything. So at every station, it's called a floater.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a whole other world, man.
It's a whole other world of construction.
And you deal with it because that's your material supply.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're constantly dealing with it.
Yeah. Nowadays, less the containers. I'm kind of like 80-20, where I'm kind of doing it the roll formed way.
Because of what? Just the cost of the container or the uncertainty, I guess?
Not so much the cost or the uncertainty. It's so much my projects that I've been working on lately. It's more practical and more cost efficient to go this way.
Okay.
When you're talking multi-unit residential, containers are phenomenal. Like you go to stock market, that thing is
I remember
amazing.
You mentioned that last time.
So you can do that with containers, but I'm getting less of those for myself personally, more the roll form stuff because it's easier to put architectural paneling on it than you can on a container. So the container stuff works if you want to integrate the container look. So like the mill, one of the projects I can show you an image.
Well, you want to pull it up now?
Yeah, it works perfectly with it. So this is just outside the Windsor area in a town called Harrow. If you've ever been there, it's beautiful. By the way. It's all
small town.
Small town. Send up a bunch of wineries in that area. It's become like a Napa kind of feel to it.
Really?
It's an amazing place if you go there. So if you go up on the file, it just flip through the images, but you'll see like a thing called the mill. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's
all.
Image.
That's all shipping containers.
So this is 4 shipping containers.
4.
So if you can see, so that gray big building, that's the existing mill.
Got it.
It's owned by a gentleman, Jeff Schwab. I talked to him recently in the thing. So what it is they purchased it. It used to be a mill, a co-op for farmers where they come in to bring in all their crops. So it's a beautiful building. So what they're doing is on the main level, they're going to give it like a kind of a banquet hall meeting spot kind of a thing, and they're going to rejuvenate the building. So I have 2 shipping containers that's going to attach to the building to become a small kitchen. And then the other one's over there on the side on the right, that's going to be 2 more shipping containers that are going to make up bathrooms. And they tie into the actual building. But the container look works perfectly with this because it's more the modern industrial type of mill look because they want to keep the character. I'm designing this currently, my company, and we want to keep the actual character of the mill and kind of bring in the kind of modern stuff to it. But this, and right behind this is the Chrysler. It's called the Chrysler pathway. So Chrysler, they use a Chrysler plant there. So what they did, they redid their old track for when they were building cars there way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Into a really nice laneway. So that whole area looks kind of like modern industrial. So there's an old Chrysler plant that's there that was turned into a winery, and it's just a beautiful place. It's just huge. And
then on the top, for the attic space there, that's you guys.
Those are going to be hotel suites. So approximately about 10 boutique style hotel suites, Airbnb type things. And because in that area there's not much hotels. And there's a lot of stuff going on there, and it's especially in the summertime, you get a lot of U.S. tourists come up into that area, and it's just so usually when you go to a winery, you kind of stay there for the weekend. You stay there, and you do your tours, and you go through the huge thing. So actually, if you flip to the other picture in the basement, actually we're doing something kind of cool underneath these things.
What's the square footage on this?
The main level of the mill itself is about 2,400 square feet.
The other one?
The other one. There's a few others.
Don't worry.
That's all right. Yeah, that's the other angle.
There it is.
Well, anyways, I can show you from this angle when you get to the basement. But so what we're doing is that addition part. I want to show you the wood-looking part.
The mill section there.
Yeah, the mill Harrow. That one's actually going to be. We're looking into actually doing it panelized. So we're doing prefabricated panels, actually, where they interlock and then you put a roof section.
So would it be what am I looking at there? 6 containers or no?
That's four.
Windows.
4 containers. Those are windows. So we're actually getting some windows made where they blend in with the existing mill windows.
So how many containers in total do you have on the entire project?
4.
4.
So one is going to be washrooms, and the other one's going to be a prep kitchen. And then we're rejuvenating basically the whole building, essentially, to make it, to bring it back to life. Because if you go there, it looks like it's been kind of abandoned for a while. So Jeff and Jesse Schwab, they've been amazing, and they've been transforming it. Like you go, they built an office in there, it looks stunning.
So how did you meet them? Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, they listened to the first podcast I did here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that's how you met them?
That's how I met him. He said, hey, I'm doing a mill. I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? I submitted a bunch of designs, and he was fortunate enough that he picked me, and I started working with him. And
that's awesome, man.
We're doing that. Yeah, it's in for site plan approval, so we're hoping to start this thing next year. And in the back.
Sorry, how's the whole city process been with this?
They've been great, actually. Essex County's been very great because they have a new blood in there, so
they understand it.
They understand it more. We were talking to a lady, Rita. There, she's been really, really good. She's been very rooting for us for this one, and she's with site plan approval. And the traffic impact study people have been really liking this because the whole thing is. We don't want to lose the character of the actual mill and create it into something where it's going to be crazy. I want to keep it a good feel. So this is a nice happy medium for us. So the traffic impact study people were doing that. This town's been really receptive to it because there's so many ways to get in and out of there. And then this is just like a nice visual. It's going to be a nice they're already actually showcasing this and their banners in downtown Harrow, actually.
Yeah, see, that's what I was just going to say is that I guess the city and also the clients themselves and yourself, you're going to feature this. This is going to be a feature project as basically a stepping stone for future projects.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is totally cool, man.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. This is all new. We're doing a big they're calling it a beer garden in the back, and you have the.
Why is it called a beer garden?
Are
you growing beers? Is there beer trees back there? Or
I guess so. But that's kind of a neat thing. They call it the beer garden.
Okay, so, that's cool.
They're gonna have ceremonies there. If there's any weddings there, they'll do an outdoor ceremony there, and it looks really cool. So eventually, actually, he's going to turn that into a rooftop patio. Actually,
on top of there.
Yeah, that's why we're doing a lot of steel and a lot of that kind of stuff for future. That's 8x8 steel beams that we're going posts we're doing there.
Oh wow!
So if you look on the underside, it's all crisscrossed and everything, and then the next phase is going to be eventually is when the hotel suites get made. That becomes a huge rooftop patio kind of deal, and so it's going to evolve. But that's going to be like the first thing of what it's going to look like. It's 90%. I still have to do some tweaks to it when I go home. But 90% of what it's going to look like from the outside. And then,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Underneath what I'm doing actually underneath the prep kitchen, so the whole building from the inside is huge concrete posts, 40 inches by 40 inches. It's really beautiful. Really old, thick, 18 by 18 inches.
You're repurposing them, or
we're repurposing them. We're keeping them. We're going to restore them and repurpose them.
They're still in good condition.
Fantastic. Oh yeah. This thing. It was built in the 1930s, I believe, and the thing is just rock solid.
What's the concrete look like? It's
extremely. It's thick. When they were cutting out the stuff.
Yeah.
The walls in the basement alone, where it's the old electrical mechanical room, was doing this really nice bar out of it. You look at the thing, it's probably about 18 inches thick just on the wall. Because it used to be an old co-op for grains and all that stuff, right?
Oh, so they built it for
freaking hurricane proof.
Wow.
So it's just amazing. The acoustics in it's stunning. They did some music videos in that thing, just the way it is. We haven't even done the rest of it. They've been doing, they shot a couple of music videos. People have been taking photo shoots there and everything like that.
Wow.
There's still the old remnants of the old equipment. So we're going to integrate that into the look of the actual place. So the old chute, we're actually going to use that, repurpose it, and make a big bar out of it. And
that's
going to look
cool.
really neat. Yeah, and then I'm doing a big, a massive, like a walk-in humidor wine rack kind of thing underneath that. So we're trying to get at least 200 bottles in there. and then a humidor, kind of a cigar room kind of thing underneath, and a lounge in the basement. It's going to be insane.
How far of a drive is it from here? Because I'm ready to go. Like,
it's 3 hours. It ain't bad.
Oh, that's not
so
bad
it's just
at
south of
all.
Windsor, 20 minutes outside of Windsor, and they're right near the water. It's a beautiful town. Like I never knew about it until I started this project.
And then what do you how did you all start the project? You're designing it's going to get parked on what? Like what are you building it off of?
Concrete. All precast concrete, anchor bolts, and we're gonna put some bracketry welded to the bottom of the containers, and we're gonna just drill them in, and we're gonna just old school, just solid, and just drop them down and put them in.
So tell me a little bit about the clients. Like what kind of people want to? I mean, this is amazing that there's people out there that are seeing this, right?
Yeah, the vision that they had was amazing. When I started working on the project, I was kind of like, this is amazing, but I was. As things were evolving with the design phase, I started seeing it really take shape. I'm like, this is going to be really cool. Yeah, their vision is really good. So
when do you break ground on this one?
I am hoping by middle of next year. It's in for site plan approval now. So,
and then it'll take how long? What are you predicting?
Essex is pretty good. They said from as long as we meet all the requirements that they were doing, topographical surveys and all these other things that we got to do. We got local guys, Mark McCloskey Engineering in Windsor, really good guy. He's been doing all the surveying and all the civil engineering stuff for us. And we also got Nabil, who's local, but he's doing that job there. He's a traffic impact study guy. So they're just wrapping up with their part. And then after that, we put it in for now and finish my site plan, of course, and everything. And then from the time we submit and they say everything's great, you meet all the requirements, I believe it's 4 weeks after that. And then they have a meeting with the town. Does anybody object? Yay, nay. If there's a nay, we see what the problem is, and then we kind of. So if everything goes like clockwork, 4 weeks from the time that we made all the submission, then we go in for permitting, and then. So that's why I'm saying middle of next year as a safe, because we also got to build the units in the plant and then do the site work and all these other things. So I'm hoping, early.
You got a busy first half of the year.
I hope so. Yeah, I do.
I want to get talking.
We'll get into that
about
one. Sure.
I've got a few questions about. Can you share the budget on this or no?
On this one here, just the units themselves.
Well, I'm just curious on what I guess. Well, yeah, I guess the units are. Well, I mean, do you know the whole budget for the whole thing, or?
So it's really early, but I don't know the whole budget for the whole thing, because right now I'm just designing the units
just the
themselves.
So your
and
units,
then the rest.
And what kind of a budget are we working with on the units?
Well, this one is going to be, and again, it's an estimate, probably 150.
That's not crazy.
200. I would say for the units, yeah. The reason why is because it isn't, and reason why I'm kind of doing that, is because we're doing like a nice wood oven and all that kind of stuff inside the kitchen, right? So I'm just taking all that into account. Could be off, but my just estimate would be that much. Yeah, 150.
I can only assume there aren't that many. Like there aren't that many builders that have actually worked on containers.
Home builders?
Yeah, like just contractors.
There are contractors. No, actually, if you go over here on 8th line, Mattamy has a really killer.
I saw that display there. Yeah,
really neat, eh? They did a great job.
Are they offering container homes now? For
I
people?
don't know. I just saw it, and I thought it was really cool. It's a showroom. I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah,
and
kind of looks like Stack on
exactly
Bathurst
that
there.
kind of thing, ultra modern kind of thing. So, but contract not yet. No, it's still new, but like I said, it's getting widespread now to the point where people are more interested in it. I get calls and people are interested in wanting to be an installer of these things. They want to do this. So also another thing that's a great thing for contractors to get into, if they're looking at something to evolve, and it's just flat advice to contractors out there.
Get into it. Like you have
to. So my suggestion is start as an installer. So you would go to a modular company and you say, hello, I'm a contractor looking to become an installer. And you would take some courses with the Modular Building Institute as installer, or the actual manufacturer would train you on how to install it. And
Modular Building Institute is what, Canadian or American?
It's North American, both Canadian and American. Yeah.
And then where you go to them, they have
they have they have courses, and they also have textbooks and things like that, and online stuff you can do. So for contractors that are interested in how do I install these things. But of course, they'll give you the broad strokes. Every manufacturer is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So that's why for me is that's if you want to do the extra mile. For me, the best way to start for a contractor is just go to a guy like me, or go to a contractor, or go to a manufacturer that's doing it and that's newer or even existing, and just go, I want to apply to be an installer. How does your system work? And then manufacturers should train you on how to do it on site and how it gets done. and then you throw in your bids on just like anything else and how much it would cost to install these things. We have XYZ project, it's going in, this is how many it is, this and that, and you price it out like any other job. You'll know you need a crane, you know you need this, you need your, what equipment you got to get, and then you go in and as an installer. So I always say, because I have contractors and sites that I'm places that I've worked on that are traditional construction, and I always tell them, I was like, there's a shortage of installers. I'm telling you,
I can see it. Yeah.
That should be something that I totally free. I'm not an installer. Totally free advice to your listeners who's a contractor looking to becoming an installer.
It kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess, where do homeowners get informed about this stuff? Because obviously the 4-letter word hasn't shared any kind of this building technique, right? So
where do they fall into all this? Laneway suites additions.
So they start doing Google searches for that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Container shipping and construction comes
or just
up.
a container home, a cottage. I'm getting a lot of those.
Yeah.
I have designed a full 3-bedroom home. Never actually went past the conceptual design phase with my clients. The biggest thing I'm finding the most success where it looks like they want to do it is home additions, laneway suites for the homeowners. Additions are really good. And things like that, shed replacement suites, like with the bunkies there, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But in terms of building a whole house, that's coming along, but I haven't done one personally, executed.
I don't think I've met a client that wants to tackle it that way.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to them for sure. My company is a company that specializes in designing these. So I'm an architect and an engineering company specific to modular structures. So I can definitely talk to them. And then I'm also working exclusively with the manufacturer as well. They just set up 2 years ago down the street here in Ancaster, so they're doing very well.
Is it because of the way the world was that everyone started shifting in this direction? Is that why you think
that kicked it into high gear? Yeah,
it did, right?
Because before, I'll tell you my early sales days.
It was hard, huh?
It was very hard, and so what it was is that my first sale ever was with Falcon Crest Homes. The owners, Paul and James DeLuca.
Okay.
They were very nice guys, by the way. They were really good. They took a chance on me, and they did their sales office in Oshawa at the time. This is 2013. That was my first one ever. And back then, I was like a year in trying to get something. And I talked to everybody. Second one that I did was for Lamb Developments downtown. I was like another 6 or 7 months after that. So I'm almost 2 years in, 2 units sold, man. That's it. And even then they're trying to think, well, what is it and how does it thing and what, they're
so
not. So
what did the Falcon Crest, what did that look like? What did you end up doing?
So it was a simple design, but it turned out to be nice. So what it was it had a raised atrium kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was kind of a flat roof raised atrium because from the outside it had a nice entrance in it. So he wanted to do it where you walk in. They had a chandelier kind of like this hanging down with some nice windows looking in. Those are 2 boxes that went on top. So if you go on my website and my LinkedIn, you can see a screenshot of it.
Okay.
And on the base, it was a home builder. So 2 end offices, and then he had his boardroom and selling all of his lots and all that kind of stuff. So it was that kind of just a sales center that he did. So he sold his thing. Here's what's funny is he sold it, and then it got moved somewhere else to another subdivision. Reassembled, they did that, and then it got sold to another home builder for his development in Alliston area. And
they just dismantled them,
and moved them,
shipped them, and then put them all back together.
Yeah, put them back together again. Yeah,
kind of makes sense now, no?
Because it does. Because after the first one, it might be expensive up front, but you got to spend it anyway on a presentation center. So some people lease units; they do that. So if you're able to do it where it makes sense to you, you can also resell them after and recoup some of that money. If you rent a retail space, like some developers do, and then you're out that money. You're just renting it and you're out that money.
You're renting trailers or whatever.
They can rent trailers and all that kind of stuff too. So it all depends. But the one that we did for Lamb actually was it was going to Jasper, Alberta. So we did it here, shipped it across the country, and we set it up there. But the thing is, after it was all done, he sold all the condo units in a short period of time. And
what happened to the?
It's still there. They just repurposed it.
Okay.
As far, last time I heard,
because at that point, once you invest everything and you've CSA'd it and you've taken care of it, and it's literally modular, you just dismantle it and ship it. Yeah. It could continuously last.
Yeah, it can continuously last. This one was a steel frame, and it had a cap piece, so it had raised ceilings. It was really beautiful. It had a demo suite in there, all that. So they just repurposed it. Sure, it's something else now. I just haven't seen it in like I said, this is 2014. This is going back a while. So
This
it
is
was 8
way
years
before the madness.
Yeah. This is long. This is
crazy
8 years ago. It was a long time ago. I haven't even,
Oh.
so that was my first two. Then we went on, got another one with another developer for one in Caledonia. Then the fourth one was supposed to go up north where the Great Ring of Fire, what they call it, up in Sault Ste. Marie and
Okay.
way up there. I designed a unit there, but another company built it. But that was like my fourth. That's when I started my modular design thing.
On your own.
Yeah, on my own. Yeah, that's basically when I started. I was the first one that I kind of started designing. And that was back in 2014 as well, late 2014. And then off we go. So and that's how it was, man.
The team
has
grown. I guess the team has grown. You've got more people you're working with now.
Yeah.
And now I want you to talk about, so now you've got a big project coming up.
Yeah.
Right? So you divulge how much you can divulge about it, right?
Yeah.
But it's an interesting project as well.
Yeah. So it's a branded hotel. I can't say which one, but and it's going east of the city.
Okay.
So what it is, it's a 3-level hotel, and it's 54 rooms, and it's being done 90% modular. So and the only part, the 10% that's done on site, is the foundation and the front section where the breakfast rooms are and everything, because it's kind of a unique glass design.
Okay.
And so that's we're doing that one. That's coming out. We're hoping to break ground most likely March, April.
That'll be like
this coming year.
More than a year, right, in construction?
Actually, no. This will take, if everything goes like clockwork, I have 5 weeks of oops time, I call it, in case something delays or whatever it is. About 6 weeks. Beginning to end, it's looking like 9 months done.
9 months.
9 months.
For how many units? 50?
54 rooms.
How many containers you using?
51.
Wow.
9 months.
So the foundation is what? It's just a poured foundation?
It's a poured foundation with some piers. So we have the 5-foot perimeter wall, and then you have specific piers where the modules are going to be going, where they need to support. And also we have a channel going in for chutes for the water connections to go into access chases and things like that. And that's what we're doing. Then we're going to interconnect everything on site. And we still have to do but this one's going to be kind of a hybrid. So I might have overshot, more 80% modular, because if you incorporate the HVAC work in the common areas, we're doing it on site just because it makes more sense.
Oh.
Yeah.
But the actual units themselves, you're building everything off site and then shipping, dropping in place.
Correct.
Connecting everything.
Yeah. And my job is to come up with the solution, because I was one of the main designers there, and it made sense cost-wise and efficiency-wise for the common areas, HVAC, and the common area plumbing to be done on site, whereas everything else inside the room is already done. It's already roughed in. So they run the common areas, connect everything up, and then that's going to shave off about a good amount of time in production.
Can you share, I'm trying to figure out, so if you've got 51 containers and there's 51 rooms, it's 51?
It's 54 rooms, because the front part that's done traditionally on the main level, on the second and third level, are like nice suites. And then we have a wheelchair accessible suite in the traditional part, I call it.
So how are you? Because I haven't seen the design, I haven't looked at anything. But I guess you're parking each of the containers as a unit. Yeah. But then there's a hallway, I guess, attached to it. Yeah. And that gets you to each of those rooms, right?
So so every layout of each unit, if you think of a rectangle, and then have the hallways integrated in every single one at the front. So there's a long hallway in the front, and then you got the rooms to the right. It's kind of a narrow, long design. So it's about 30 feet long, but it's really 400 feet of long the other way, but only 30 feet deep. I'm sorry. So 30 feet deep by 400 feet long. And it's just 3 stories, and and then you have multiple stairways. So the stairway section is going to be done on site traditionally to connect between all the modular units. So every hotel room is going to be a box. And then integrated with that is the hallway that you walk down and the door on the front of the box. And then that's your main chase, where all your sprinklers and all that stuff goes down your main chase.
Yeah, because you gotta design that way where you're running pathways for everything now.
Correct. You got to think of that, load points, connection points. There's a lot to think of. So it was a challenge, but it was good. It was a good challenge.
And then I guess, have they, or do you know why? Is this, they wanted to do this because it's more cost effective, or
time and cost effectiveness? Yes. Altogether, we did a financial pro forma. It's looking like he's saving a good 15% just on the building cost, especially not because cost of materials went to the freaking roof. He's still saving about 10 to 15%, and at 9 months,
So if
timeline
it was
is finished.
traditional construction, it would have taken how long versus 9 months?
18 to 20 months.
Wow, you're almost at 2 years versus a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big difference.
And how we're doing it is because the site work's being done in conjunction with the things being built on site. You don't have to wait for the foundation to be done. Then frame.
You don't have to deal with Mother
Being
Nature.
done. Yeah. You don't have to deal with them.
So I guess the theory is that this is a pilot project that's going to happen, and then if it works really well, then
There's going to be a next one across the street and then another one in that whole area. Yeah. So, and people that hotel is, the place is also for, that's why they kind of want to keep it under
Quiet.
wraps a little bit because they want this to be their thing, right? Other hotels are getting into it. They're not the only ones, but for this area, it's seeming pretty interesting. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, I'm the designer on that.
that's
and the
great
project
that fell in
manager.
your lap, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. It was a while. It was about over a year of my life. So
Just to
was
get it
interesting.
going.
Yeah. Site plan approvals, then permitting and city fees and all that other stuff. You have to do traffic impact studies and
I'm sure you've thought about this already. Does it make sense to try to build schools this way? Or is
I actually just did a one interactive classroom in the Ajax area. One classroom out of one 20-foot container. Yeah.
Huh.
That was done with SCS containers. They're really good guys. I do drawings and stuff like that for them. They're really good.
so that worked?
It worked out nicely. Yeah. That one's on Hilco Piles, and then that went up there. So it was done there, but it makes sense to build schools this way.
Yeah.
Portable units for sure.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But the thing is, school portals have been modular forever. Since
Yeah, but
the
they've
80s.
been crappy forever.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah, but they are modular,
whenever you were in the portable, like
Yeah.
you felt like you were like the wrong kid.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And trust me, I've been in my share of portables
Me too.
right? So it's
Me
just
too.
like you walk in and it feels like you're standing on
Oh,
balsa
yeah.
wood, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's just so like it bouncy and
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
and it's
You're walking and-
freezing and in dead of winter in here in Canada.
Can't see out of them because the windows are all
I know, it's all
fogged up.
crusted up.
Oh my god, that was brutal.
So that's why I'm thinking a container will actually be a lot better. Like
It would be, yeah, it'd be nicer, cleaner.
So
kind
where's
of
your
thing.
classroom in the container? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry about that. No, I didn't realize you're so posh. Yeah, but now you're like living in.
Separate from Oh, jeez. Yeah, I remember.
No,
man,
but I
in
love
ninth
that.
grade.
Yeah, I totally love that it's expanded that way. That people start
Yeah.
thinking the possibilities, especially if you look at the numbers. I guess it's more time. Time is more valuable than the numbers.
Yeah. And for me, I've been loving it because now I'm getting different stuff. Because for a big period, all I did was the wheeled construction trailer units, camp units, and that kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I love doing those because I learned a whole lot from it. But now I'm getting more unique stuff, so it's kind of interesting. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
I'd love to talk to you one day when I
Sure.
do have some funds or whatever, and
Yeah.
hopefully this show starts making money or whatever.
Yeah.
Like to throw one as a cottage unit and just clad it with mirror, man.
Really?
And just mess with animals out there. You know what I'm saying? Like have a big mirror box where I can't even find it. I need a GPS to find it or something. I just think it would be cool that it would just camouflage itself inside the forest, right?
It would. That'd be neat. It's like that linear city in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Well, there's that whole, we talked about it, right? They started construction on that.
They started it. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's cool, but for me, as a guy with engineering background, I'm just thinking, I'm like, how the hell are they going to do that?
They're starting to dig.
They're starting to dig. They're doing it, theoretically, it makes perfect sense. But then I'm thinking, is it going to be like a resort deal? Is it going to be like
That's what I'm trying to
there's
figure
so many
out.
unanswered. Like the mirrors are actually solar
Do you
panels.
get in and stay in?
That's what I'm thinking. Where do you work?
Are
Where
you
do you
not
go?
allowed
What
to
do you do?
leave? Or like,
Yeah, like I see tennis courts and I saw little things of it. And you still have the main train and everything.
yeah.
But I'm just like
The way they sell
amazing.
it, they make it sound as if like you come on in and you don't need anything else from the world.
Yeah.
Everything's here. This is the world
Yeah,
now.
because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
I just picture a
Yeah.
van and puppies and a couch, and like I don't want to get in there. Like I don't know. It's kind of cool.
It is cool.
Do you think
yeah.
engineering wise this is possible, or are we not there?
I think it's
yet?
possible.
Yeah,
No, I think it's totally possible because your main exterior walls, more or less, are probably acting as your main anchors for support, and your powers is being done on the outside wall. So actually, I'm doing kind of
You got
maybe
another
micro
file?
similar to this, but I can get into that. So the outside are using that as their main. It seems to me their main utility stuff. And so you have where your power is coming from, solar
All
panels
on
and
the exterior
on the
walls?
exterior, those big exterior mirrors.
So where's their light coming from? They're natural.
from the inside, from the middle. So think of two big channels side by side with trees on top, and then you have the outside is exposed. It's open, the middle of it.
Oh, I thought that the mirrors themselves were windows as well, that you could look out.
They are windows.
Okay.
So they look mirrored on the outside because they're solar panels. So they're supplying power into the thing. It's zero emissions. It's a really amazing thing. Zero emissions. It's going to be totally self-sustained in terms of it's going to be really green, which is pretty cool.
Outside of all the diesel moving trucks in the desert just like emitting carbon monoxide while they're building everything.
Pretty much, yeah. But zero emissions.
It'll be green the moment they move in, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, you had a file.
It's neat. I had a So I can talk about the villages that I'm doing with ITTS. I can do that. I can.
Man, how much stuff you got going on?
Yeah.
Since the last time I saw you, holy cow!
It's been crazy. I've been very blessed, man. It's amazing. I got more.
No, sorry. Don't take your time.
It's all right.
Angela, take your time.
Don't worry about it. If you go to the video, I want to show you that video. Yeah.
So this is the video you're talking about.
I'll intro it. So basically what this is before you start, so it's called the Peace Village Initiative. I'm doing it with ITTS. So they're out of the United States. They're a not-for-profit, been around for 10 plus years.
Okay.
I talked to him before, Robbie Stokes. He worked for the Obama government and all that stuff and traveled the world and all this fun stuff. So this is something where we're working together where we're going to be hopefully planning little villages, and the video kind of encapsulate kind of what we're doing. You can put that on, and then that's one of the units there. That's the thing. And
where's this happening?
So we're going to start in Illinois and certain parts of Africa. Right now they're raising funds and doing all that. So this is probably going to be 2024 realistically. I don't, it's more of a thing that he's raising funds for, and I'm helping him out with any technical stuff. So this is all his community garden stuff he did in Atlanta, Georgia, and in Illinois he's doing that stuff too. So this is his community garden he did, and we're going to be putting units there as well, hopefully. But it's just kind of, so this one's just showing kind of how he evolved in the 10 years, and he's traveled freaking all over the world. It's nuts. So this is the latest thing he did, and then if you can forward it. It's almost there. Yeah, that was him when he was in Sudan.
What was his name again? I think you mentioned
Robbie Stokes.
That's it. Yeah, you remember?
Right,
I remember you mentioning him. Yeah.
I've been working with him for about 6 years on this kind of.
How did he get started in this whole? He just started realizing that there's an opportunity here.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, you can pause it right here. Actually, just okay. So how I met him was through a couch surfing community. Remember people were doing that when I was single back in the day.
Yeah.
So he was one of the guys, and then we kind of stumbled across this. So as time went on, he was trying to figure out what he can do and keep evolving his vision. So he's launching an app, an I Talk to Strangers app, and all this fun stuff. So. But how this came to be is because he wanted to do something in terms of having some sort of community centers and living spaces for the places that he goes, and the community to accommodate his community gardens.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. He's like, well, why don't I do a community center here? Why don't I do this? And then when he did several trips overseas, he came back and he's like, how can we do a village? Can we do that? Is it possible? I said, well, and then I started getting to work, and I said, well, let me see. Maybe there's something I could do. So, and that was about 6 months ago. I started kind of putting together these units here. You can play it, but so I have different plans for different type of structure. So you
what
can pause
size are we
that.
talking about here?
So this is 6.5 acres by 6.5 acres. So this is just my little CAD.
That's
video.
the whole village.
This is a whole village, yeah. So inside of this thing, so the exterior walls are going to be, there's a pathway on the top, and then there's going to be all green and cultivation rooms. And then the inner wall is kind of a double wall thing, and you got the little wavy line in the middle. That's a green pathway that's going to be there. On the inside are going to be your utilities, your electrical and all that. And on the roof, solar panels. And then on the inside, we have community center, medical, multi-unit residential, shops, and bachelor, one bedroom and 2 bedroom units. And that's all encapsulated. So this is can accommodate about 500 people right now as it is. Yeah. And it
can be parked almost anywhere.
Pretty much. And I also have gray water, black water tanks, and there's going to be maintenance with self-sustained ones. Another thing that they're doing is they're actually within the States is they're looking into buying old abandoned department stores or parking lots or something.
Because they're all disappearing.
Yeah. So they want to repurpose them and do it like this. The underground infrastructure is there.
Yeah.
The water services and all that. So we wouldn't need the solar panels, and we can modify it a little bit, but this is the main thing. So my original vision for this thing started was in 2014. I was called emergency disaster relief houses. So when I met Robbie throughout the years and all that, I'm like, I just literally just blew the dust off of an old file and showed it to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is what I want to do. And I'm gonna try to raise funds. I'm trying to make it happen at some point I'm hoping next couple of years.
I mean, good luck with it.
Yeah,
it's a great
yeah.
idea, right?
This is my passion project. It's more my legacy thing. I just
Yeah.
want to show it and give him a shout out on that. And but that's so I'm kind of evolving with my designs and pushing the limit with what I can really do with these things. Also doing I'm working with Beck Modular, the people in Ancaster.
Okay.
They're doing nursing homes and lots of really cool stuff out there as well. They're a great group of guys. The owner's there is a great guy too. So I'm working with them, and I'm actually doing something where I'm doing specific modular things for them to accessories onto their modular structure, which is kind of cool.
Like what kind of stuff?
You can say prefabricated mansard roofs, modular mansard roof things, modular parapet walls, panelized walls, everything that you can't do in a box. They want to be able to do it so that way they can accommodate. So one has like a little lobby with 2 walls joining the old building to the new modular building. Oh. That's panelized. And then you have the balconies. That's modular. So everything's kind of being done where they want to do it as much as possible modular.
So you're going beyond container.
I'm going
as
beyond
a module
containers.
as components.
Yeah.
Of the modular.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going beyond that. So I'm working with them on that.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. I'm very I hope.
So why isn't the government coming on board or doing this? Or
there is a $1 billion rapid housing fund that's being initiated right now. It's about to go launch. Rapid housing initiative.
All of Canada?
I don't know. I know Ontario, but I know that there's a fund that's going out there, Mississauga, and wherever there's a housing shortage, they're doing a rapid housing initiative.
So how does that all work when you're trying to get a rapid fund?
So that I don't know. The manufacturers are basically bidding on the work. And the towns and the cities are allowed X amount. They say, okay, we need 500 units here. Give us your bids. Just like GC's bid stuff. You got the guys bidding on it. Okay, we'll do it. We need a nursing home here. Bid it. We need this. Bid it.
Have they done a study where they looked at all the cities? I guess we're talking about Ontario here. And they're looking for the cities that need it the most? Is that the idea?
I believe they have, yeah.
I can only assume that Toronto is at the top of the list.
It should be. But when I was on the Toronto Planning Review panel, I was on it for 4 years, from 2015 to 2019. This is one of the subjects to talk about. So it's crazy how a few years later I see it.
So much, yeah. But it still hasn't come into play, though. Is it going to come into play next year?
No, I think in a month or two. They already decided last year. They already said, they all signed it in and said, yeah. So
so where's all this funding coming?
I don't know. I think it's the feds, but I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I literally heard this secondhand from the manufacturer I'm working with saying, we got the rapid housing, and I just looked it up. And
so it's been submitted, but it hasn't been approved.
It's been submitted, approved, and it's coming in.
Oh, it's been approved.
Yeah, it's been approved. This
now they're going to
started back
tendering?
in 2017. It started this thing.
Really?
Yeah. During my time there, they were talking about it. Where do you think is the most areas? We need parks. We need this. What's your opinion? You just didn't put your opinion. I did that for 4 years. I served the city.
And so right now they're at the process of tendering?
Not quite. But we're almost. I'm thinking next year, realistically, or next year they're going to start tendering.
So how do contractors that are listening to right now, is there a list or is there a website that we can go to start looking at what we can tender?
I believe so. So the whole thing is that there's 2 ways. The manufacturer are probably going to ask for subcontractors. Okay. That's why I'm telling your contractors become an installer, because there's going to be a bottleneck.
Because that'll be a accreditation.
There's going to be
okay.
So there's going to be a bottleneck in installers. So that's going to be a demand there. So that's one thing. Second thing is that you can go to the manufacturer and say, hey, put me on your list for installers. So when they bid, they go to them and say, like anything else, I need to carry a price. How much? This much. Okay, great. They get awarded the contracts. 5 guys bid on the one thing as an installer. They pick the one guy and they get the contract as the subcontractors go. Yeah. And then the manufacturers are mostly going to be the ones that are going to be bidding this thing, or GCs that have a division like PCL. They got a modular division now. Ellis Don's got a modular division now. Matamy's got a modular division now. So all the big guys are coming too. So it's starting to become really interesting.
Will they gobble it all up?
I hope not, but I'm a designer guy that works for the manufacturer.
So you're one of many, or
I'm one of out of the manufacturers. A lot of them are setting up, yeah. But in terms of who gets what and all that,
nobody knows about this, man.
Nobody, I know, yeah. It's coming, yeah. They already did do all of that, and they're.
So why did they, like, media wise, did they announce this? Did they share
they did.
it?
Back in the summer, Doug Ford did a thing with PCL.
Really?
They announced a new nursing home and all that. And
I remember him talking about that.
yeah,
but I didn't realize it
that's
was
part of
connected
that
as
whole
part of it.
That's part of that whole realm there. Yeah, for nursing homes and for seniors homes, and now they're doing rapid housing, low cost housing, and all that tied into all that. So it's a lot of it's just to boost things to kind of get things moving with the.
Well,
It makes
a good
sense.
thing.
Yeah, because you can get it faster, get everything done faster, and I just hope that it doesn't get gobbled up by the big guys like too much.
That's my first concern when I start hearing when you start telling me that they're going to be playing in the same sandbox, right?
Most likely they are going to be, but because when you see them set up, I'm like, okay, well, they're going to try to do that. So for me, I'm just trying to go after my specific niche, and hope that So for my part with that, I don't know if I'm going to directly take part in that stuff. I'm dealing with the manufacturer that is. So I will just say, well, this is my part in it, and this is how much it is, and if I get it, I get it, right? So in terms of how, because I'm sure there's qualifications, I haven't looked into it, and you got to be a certain size, certain this.
So to get trained, what's involved in getting trained? If you're a GC, you're a contractor, you want to get into this landscape now. Offhand what it takes?
Yeah, so experience and learning about the actual product you're installing specifically, because it's like working as a mechanic. Not every car is the same. So you got to know exactly the product you're working with.
Yeah.
You got to know exactly the kind of crane you need. That's why I'm saying go to a specific manufacturer and try that system and go around their system first, because that way you're the one that can get called upon to do the installs.
Is it worth going to check out Stack downtown or go check out?
Yeah, it is worth it but the thing is that that's containers. So a company that doesn't do containers might have a modular unit. You got to make sure that you know how to deal with that. Like I just did I did one this past summer, the Royal Canadian Yacht Club, the one down on Cherry Street.
Yeah.
They had an existing old Williams Scotsman unit that went all out of whack, and they hired me to do an assessment on it to make sure to kind of get 5 more years out of it. So I knew the Scotsman system, so I knew kind of what to do in that case. And so I actually came and got a contractor, and they came and I trained them on how to level the thing and do all that. So that was just a small thing, but you know the system that you're going to deal with. Not everyone's the same, and that's what I'm saying. And if you want to try to deal with every single modular manufacturer, that might be something where you're spreading yourself.
Pick and choose, right?
Pick and choose, focus, say, here, I want to be your installer for that. I've been contracting for XYZ amount of years, and I want to get in. Because a lot of the times contractors want to be manufacturers. That's a whole different game. And if you're just a smaller kind of a fish here, like how my company is and all that, you find your niche. And for those guys, I recommend being an installer first before you try to jump in as a manufacturer.
Are you thinking that we have to take our hard hat off for regular the way we've been building for so long, and put this hat on because it's a different way of looking at things?
From a construction on-site construction perspective, yes and no. You need that core experience from but the thing is this is a manufactured product. You're installing a manufacturer, like putting in a dishwasher. There's only one way you can put it in. There's no so you can't when you're doing traditional, there's ways to kind of fix things as you're going along. But this is a set product. You're putting it in.
This is A to go to B, B to go to C.
Prep the ground, put this in, do this, put it in, hook it up this way, do that, commission it, fire it up, hand it over to the client.
Nice, man. I want to try to get into a little bit of the future here, man. Try to figure out where this is going, because I'm only assuming that it's just growing and growing from that point.
Yeah.
And I know, are there other cities that are getting bigger and better with this stuff than versus Toronto? It sounds like Toronto's a little bit of a leader.
Toronto is really embracing the laneway suite stuff.
Yeah.
They're really doing really well on that. I designed a few of them. They went out to so the laneway suite stuff that I did is usually the client went and shopped around for manufacturers, which created the demand for me to join up with the manufacturer to do, because when people deal with me, I don't want them to go to manufacturer I don't know anything about, try to follow what I'm doing, and then it doesn't work out quite right.
Yeah.
So after going a lot of extensive vetting as to find a good manufacturer to link with, I found Beck, because their stuff is state of the art. They imported their equipment from Europe, from England, all that, and they're actually doing it in the same methodology in terms of everything from, they thought about the torsion during transport and stuff. So going back to the original thing that
where's it going? The future.
Where's it going? So I see that technology is going to be evolving. It's going to get cheaper, lighter, faster, and I see it going more vertically up. And I see a lot of the traditional construction kind of it's kind of like the gas to EV thing.
Got it.
I see that going that way. Prefab's going to be here. It's going to be one methodology, and it's going to be a way to do it. You know, like it still has, like the same with the EVs. It's still evolving, but now I see it having actually more of a bigger market share in terms of the method of way things are being done. But then you got the OBC versus CSA thing. That's kind of another thing that they're trying to.
So how do we streamline, or can you? I guess it's just rules. There are rules in place.
There's rules in place. So basically, what it is as long as the city sees what is behind the wall, and as long as there is a body that is assuming the certification that it meets the standards for what that code is, usually the city's good with it. But it's so new to a lot of people at the city where they ask for things or they suggest things, or you have to show them things that aren't really relevant to modular. So like example, like, well, where's the steel I-beam going here? Well, the I-beam's actually in two pieces integrated into the unit. Well, how's that? Well, this is how it is. There's my structural calculations. And so that's the thing.
Isn't there a certification at that point when you get it from CSA?
There is, but during the build and during the permitting process, because you're jumping from foundation conceivably to final.
You basically,
right?
But I mean, you're jumping that, but you're arriving with someone signing off on
correct,
that.
100%.
Because
each
the thing
has
is,
a number.
you've taken it into a factory.
Yes.
You've chopped it up, designed it,
yes,
and then signed off on
correct.
to get your. So that's what happens,
Yep.
and then you ship it, and
Yep.
now the final assembly
Yep.
finalizes everything.
Yeah, and that's what gets inspected on site. So during that process, as long as the city has copies of all those drawings and documentation, which they're fully welcome to do, which is what I usually give them my drawings when I do my designs of that part, and then they know what's going on, and then they look at it and say, okay, well, it's bolted like this, it's bolted like that. All right, I'm good with that.
Because this is basically all new language for the inspectors.
More or less, yeah. In certain cases, it is. But a foundation, same foundation,
Same
just different
thing. Just
methodology.
the way it's anchored together to the foundation.
Yeah, or how it's done. But it is different. But I think more or less the inspectors have been good, as long as they see exactly what's there, as long as you do spend a little bit more time during that process in terms, but that's because it's new to them, right? So that's all. I've been in it for 10 years, so it's a little bit, I know these things, but it's new to them. So that's one of the things that I have to, but I see as things go on, they're going to understand it more. Same thing where they used to go from clapboard to vinyl siding same thing, right? So it's kind of the same kind of.
Are you anchoring the units like the same way with the J-bolt?
Yes.
Really?
In this case, I will be, yeah.
And
the mill job that I showed you. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're doing the foundation, you're throwing the J-bolts in there, and then you're already pre-drilling holes.
Yeah.
And then they drop in place.
Yeah, have an L-bracket with pre-drilled hole, and then you just do your self.
And that's your anchoring. That's
your anchoring and all that, and that's it.
Wow.
On the outside, and make sure corrosive protection and all that, and you're good to go.
Well, corrosive protection.
Galvanized. Use a galvanized thing. Something
yeah.
to cover so it doesn't rust and eventually weaken over time.
Of course.
Simple, but that's building code stuff. They already know that. So that's the whole thing, is that all they need to know is what are you doing differently from how I've normally seen it? What is what we're doing? There's an anchor bolt. It's covered. It's rust proof. All right, I get it. No problem. So you still need that base experience. Contractors, you still got to know how to put a J-bolt correctly. You still got to know how to grade things correctly. You still got to do all of that.
Of course, yeah.
It's just you're adding a new thing for their portfolio to figure it out, to how to do it. Oh, well, I know how to install the units too, because I've been doing it. I do this. I've done that. So I'm thinking, I don't know, like I may be starting training sessions.
Oh, really?
And I may be doing that, or work with a manufacturer. I've worked with the manufacturer.
That would make sense. That would help
to do
a lot
training
of the guys,
sessions, for install. So I'm looking into doing that, because there is a demand for people to train how to do it, right? So, but that's another thing I might want to. I'm probably going to end up doing. So that's why I want to kind of videotape as much as projects come in this year as possible.
Shoot it so people.
And then that way I can actually show them how to give them an idea on how to do it, right? So
I can see a lot of guys wanting to do that. Check it out.
Yeah, I got my HVAC guy. He's loving this. He's already done a couple. Gianni Atazio Mechanical. He's a great guy. He's the one who he's really actually going out of his way and learning how to do the HVAC and how to do it in your connections and your offsets, but he's loving it. He's enjoying it. He's done 3 so far, and he's doing some more, and hopefully he'll be doing this. But
are there more suppliers coming out? Because I know that not everybody's a fan of that corrugated metal look on the exterior, but you could adhere any kind of cladding on it you want.
Yeah. Oh, I could show you the mobile dental unit actually.
Oh, yeah, sure. I know.
That's another thing I'm working on. I want to show it to
but
you.
But I mean,
the variety.
I can only assume. Okay, so you're cladding that then?
Yeah, we're cladding it with nice stained wood. We might do architectural paneling. I just met with him this morning. But this is a unit I'm doing for a company called Dentist Concierge. Lauren Elbaz is the owner. Great guy. I've been developing this with him actually for about a year and a half now. So we're down to the point. So the bottom, how it's raised there, that's all. It's going to be a self-sustained mobile dental unit because his clientele is he builds dental and medical offices.
Okay.
And so what we're doing here is while he's been renovating the dental offices, dentist has to work somewhere.
Yeah.
In come these. And you rent them, and it has water tanks, gray, black water tanks. That's a single op unit. So you have one op, and you have one steri center, and you have a washroom and a mechanical room on the side. And below that, you have your gray water tanks, your black water tanks, your solar management system.
It's mobile.
You're barred, and it's mobile.
You can move this.
You can move this thing. So you drop it, and then you bolt it in those little legs going out there. And then you either weigh it down, anchor it down, bolt it down, wherever you're putting it. I'm doing this so that it can fit in 3 parking spaces.
Wow.
Right outside your place.
So that's why I was asking. Like I can only assume that a lot of manufacturers of interesting new materials, they're factoring how to incorporate these new materials with these projects. Yeah.
So actually, if you flip over, I can show you the base frame of these things to explain kind of like, I'm using like an automotive method of this. Just keep going next image. I think it'll show up.
Is it stuck or something? No.
Oh, there's a floor plan. Actually, there's cool. I can show you this since we're here. That's the floor plan. So you have your single op, steri center, washroom, mechanical room.
So that's one container. Right?
That is
size of what?
That's 12 by 20.
12 by
12 feet by 20 feet.
Okay.
So if you just flip to the other ones, that's a 2-op. That is going to be 20 by 24, 20 by 27. I apologize.
They're huge, man.
Yeah, and then you got 2 ops and then EPDM roof and membrane, all that same. 21.5 by 26 now, 3 spots. So if you go to the next one, there's so much going on, man. This is a section view. So this one will show you.
Underneath. Okay.
Underneath is where all your stuff. So we're going to have heat trace cables in there, solar panels if we need it, or we just hook up to the local electrical connect on the actual.
So you're getting enough power with the solar panels that you set it up that you are self-sufficient?
We could, because we're going to have a backup Jenny in there. So because to get all of the power, you're going to need a lot more solar panels. Yeah. So we have a backup generator with heat trace cables and, Tesla batteries. They want to do really, really cool work.
So when is this going to be or is this ready?
We're going to start manufacturing, hopefully the first one by February of next year. First one's going to be, so it's going to hit the shop floor hopefully soon, and then it's going to come out, and then we're going to take it to the first site and hook up all the chairs and everything. It'll be ready to go. Tim Orange has been doing that for a while. This is just
that's right.
Remember when they're building the Renos and they have it's the same kind of concept.
And they just park it there.
And they have the drive
until the time it takes to
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's how he got the idea for his dental stuff, because the dentists were saying, "Where am I going to work? I got to leave something else. I got to do it." So this one is one where they can do it that way, where the people where it's next door to his location, people know where he is. They just park, they go in for their thing, and they come out. And then that's what they use while his full office is getting done.
What are you recommending using for glass for these units, like the actual containers? Are specific, or it doesn't matter? You could throw vinyl in there, you could throw aluminum in there.
Anything
you want.
You just got to reinforce around it properly.
That's it. So as soon as you cut it out, you still have to frame it out. But that's part of the actual structural point of it.
It's part of the structural in this case, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the tubing, and you have all the self-tapper holes and everything there for you to put your window in. You got to think automotive with these things. It's definitely automotive style.
Oh, assembly so like line. Custom, right?
Assembly line building, basically. So station 1 frame, station 2 floor, station 3 this. It's same as when you're building a car. Station 1 frame,
so you got to reach out. You got to reach out to exhibit then. And then you got to pimp your containers. I like
that. Pimp my container.
Pimp your container, because then remember that show?
I love that.
All you older people.
Hell yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Do you remember that, Angelina? You remember Pimp My Ride?
Okay. Where's he at? He's probably in a container somewhere.
I think he's doing Law and Order now. I don't know. I think so. He's doing something.
I can't picture Exhibit.
He's doing something,
Like I lost a lot of respect for, I guess, Ice-T when he started being a
SVU.
Yeah, that's a different tangent. No, I'm fascinated by this stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
no
I love that
problem.
all this stuff that you got a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah,
and
thank
this is where
you.
it's going, so it's really
It's
interesting.
been a blessing. I'm very
Yeah.
very happy, and I'm hoping to keep going. And hey, I got challenges and everything like everything else, and hoping to just keep going. So yeah, let's see what this year
get
happens.
the class going, man. Like that's gonna definitely be a thing.
Yeah,
You're gonna have-
honestly, now that I'm talking to you about it, that's one of the things I'm thinking. Yeah, doing the courses, get the installers going, and like I said, I'm now if for all my customers, I want me to also offer to build them the unit. I'm partnered with Beck out of Ancaster and Mississauga, and they're doing a great job. So those are the ones that could be what they can do for building those units. So yeah, I'm excited about what's coming in forward. So
Nice.
yeah, man. So we'll see what happens.
Let's do the 12 questions again, man.
Oh, yeah.
Now that we have a cameras going, everybody, we're still listening. We're still talking to Adnan. Adnan.
Yeah,
Adnan Zabian.
Adnan, yeah.
And then it's www.acadmodular.com
Yep.
and it's info@acadmodular.com
Yep.
and it's on Instagram. His name, or you actually
My
have
name
both.
and ACAD Modular.
Yeah,
I have both
exactly.
on there.
One or the
yeah,
other,
but
right?
I post on, I post on one, I post on the other. It's just, well, I'm there.
It works.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is your favorite construction word?
Favorite construction word? Finished.
Least favorite construction word?
Problem.
What turns you on in construction?
Seeing my vision come to life.
What turns you off?
Not seeing my vision come to life.
What is your favorite curse word? You don't curse, yeah?
In general, I curse.
Oh, you curse,
My
okay.
favorite one?
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's
What is your favorite vehicle?
favorite vehicle ever? God, I don't know. There's a lot. One of, I said Rolls Royce last time. You know what? Lamborghini Diablo, man. I can't fit in one, but they're still my favorite car.
90s, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It's
man.
a nice shape. It's
Yeah.
a nice shape.
I sat in one. I couldn't.
Couldn't fit. It's
I'm too
tight?
tall. I'm too big. I was like, nah. I couldn't fit in one.
Well, let's
That's
do
all right.
Your least favorite?
My least favorite car?
Yeah. Vehicle, anything.
K car, man. Dodge Neon. I hated
No. You hang on. You said the K car.
K
first.
car too. K car
I
Dodge Neon.
remember the K car.
Yeah. K cars are
So
my.
anybody
I would put the K cars
Watch
number
any
one.
watch any 80s cop drama.
Oh yeah, narc cars, man. That's what we used to call them. K cars, narc cars.
They're ugly as
A
hell.
buddy
man.
of mine in high school drove around in like a piss yellow color, pink.
They're
kind of.
ugly.
Oh my
and
god!
then they used to. I think they tried to upgrade
disaster.
the badging where they had the cross and then it
Yeah,
had
the Reliant. they
Yeah,
call
yeah,
it,
that's what it is.
Which is
The-
ironic.
the upscale one version. It
The
wasn't
Reliant. It wasn't Reliant.
It was a piece of crap.
God,
What
they're terrible.
construction sound or noise do you love?
Do I love? I like the sound of like the hydraulics. You know what I mean? Like it just sounds like shit's being done with the hydraulic sound. You know, I like that sound. Hydraulics.
What construction sound or noise do you hate?
Incessant scratching, like a saw going through concrete. That kind of fucking sound. I don't like it.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
IT or something in culinary, like a chef in a restaurant or something in IT. Those are my two
What
passions.
kind of food?
I make a lot of stuff. I make a lot of Lebanese food, which is my own culture. I make Italian food. I got into some South Asian food because of my wife,
Yeah.
but I'm not the greatest at it. But I'm starting to learn that because the herbs and stuff. It's hard, man. You got to mix. There's so many spices.
There's
and stuff
rules,
in it.
man.
Yeah.
I know.
So
but it tastes.
it's amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
She's a great cook. So I stay in my Lebanese and Italian, North American type
That'd be
realm.
a mix, Lebanese and Italian.
Yeah.
How would you mix that?
Oh, there's ways to do it. Definitely.
Yeah.
You can. There's a lot. You can have the hummus on the one side, not with pasta. That's
No.
stereotypical, but you can. So we have something kind of like a personalized pizza.
Okay.
So you can make it in that methodology, but more with pizza and the meatballs on top instead of with the cheese and the thing. I can do it. You gave me an idea, man. That's what I would have done.
What profession would you not like to do?
Not like to do. Look, I respect all professions, but myself personally, I wouldn't want to, at this current point in my life, doing anything in the retail or kind of thing. You know what I mean? Retail, like put me in a warehouse in the back kind of thing, because I think it would just bother me after a while.
And the last question, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
Don't worry about for the wrong that you did. You made it in, you made the cut, and good job.
Nice.
That's basically.
Adnan, it's always nice to see you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank
Good
you.
to
Thanks
see
for having me.
I
This
love that
flew
you got
by.
so much going on, man.
Thank you, man.
Like, honestly.
Hey, it was during COVID, man. Honestly, I started the company a few months before COVID launched, and when COVID hit, I was like, "What do I do? Is this going to happen?
Here you go. Like 2-3 years later, this is what you've done.
Yeah.
And then so there's a lot of construction.
Look at this.
Well, no, this is nice. It's great,
phenomenal.
and having the conversation is going to hit 300 soon.
Oh, thank you.
Right, so it's just like this.
Congratulations,
It's been good. Thanks, man. So we've got a lot of interesting shows coming up, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. What's Just Hydrate? What is that?
That's a friend of mine.
Oh, nice.
He dared me to put it on, so it's right there.
Cucumber, apple, lemon. That sounds really nice. Sounds
It is
healthy.
actually. They're pretty tasty.
I've been doing Chinese oolong tea with the herbal mushroom mix for energy. It's like
I've been
coffee.
doing like soursop tea. I've been doing
That
all
kind of
kinds
stuff.
of teas.
It's fantastic, man.
Yeah,
It's
drinking
good.
beets and stuff. Because you're 38 now. It's
Yeah,
your
I know.
birthday. As you get older, we start paying attention to that shit.
I know, man. I go to Healthy Planet now and almond milk and God bless my wife.
I don't do almond milk. I don't do almond milk.
It's not
man.
bad. It's not bad. It's you're regular milk.
I'm not even a milk guy. I don't like milk. Yeah,
I'm lactose intolerant, so
are you? So almond milk's fine for that.
Almond milk's fine. Yeah. Soy milk, almond milk is fine for that. Totally fine. Yeah, it's just dairy. You don't want the dairy stuff in it.
I don't know, but I'm
And
still a
nothing comes
cheese
out of a
guy.
cow.
I'm Portuguese, man, so I love my cheese.
I had an aunt. My uncle was married to a Portuguese lady. That Portuguese cheese, that smelly cheese.
Yeah, I know. I love
Man,
that cheese.
I get it now.
I got a
take
wedge
a
right at
lactose pill, 4 or 5 of them, and I have a little bit. That's what I do.
You take my brother's like that
Oh
too.
my god, yeah, lactose pills. Yeah. What do you do? You do it and you have a little bit.
No, you got to enjoy the cheese.
Yeah, man.
You got to enjoy the
Oh
cheese,
yeah,
man.
of course. Yeah,
Everybody, reach out to him. You guys got any questions? I definitely encourage all the contractors out there to pay attention to this segment because it's going to grow.
Thank you.
And it's just going to give you different avenues of work and possibilities. And guess what? Like construction, we all learn. So this is a new way to build.
And if anybody needs my design services to go modular with your project, call me. And if you're a contractor who's serious and wanting to learn how to be an installer, by all means, call me.
Reach out.
So, and we can take care of you.
www.acadmodular.com, info@acadmodular.com. I think that's it, bro.
That's it. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my birthday.
All right. Thanks so much, man. We are out of here. Thank you, Angelina.
Thank you, guys.